It's frustrating because Greg Daniels worked on the US office, and that show had a really human relationship in it between Pam and Jim, and if you took those two characters and put them in this show, it'd be on another level. Hey guys, hope you're all doing well and that lockdown isn't getting the better of you. Today I want to take a look at Upload, which is Amazon's attempt at merging Black Mirror with The Good Place, and it's set in a not too distant future in which there's driverless cars and robots have replaced checkout assistants, and it's every Terminator fan's worst nightmare. And that's because in Upload there's a real world and a digital world, and basically a tech giant has created an online version of The Sims that people sort of on the brink of death can upload to before they pass away. And this video game of sorts is sort of marketed as a real world utopia that's sort of comparable to an afterlife. And that's when we meet Nathan, who's played by Robbie Amell, who soon finds himself uploaded after being in a driverless car accident. And the story centres on a relationship between Nathan in this artificial utopia and his controlling girlfriend played by Allegra Edwards. It sort of becomes evident that there's a rising tension between these two characters as she can look at everything he's doing in virtual reality while sort of holding the ability to terminate his now digital existence, which he's actually paying for in the real world. So meanwhile, Andy Alo is playing a customer assistant called an Angel who watches over Nathan, and predictably those two start to bond and develop a more meaningful connection than the one he has with his more narcissistic girlfriend who he clearly wants to get rid of. So the show's essentially a window into a potential future that plucks numerous ideas from the back catalogue of Black Mirror episodes, but while it's dealing with a lot of bleak ideas, it's tonally very different from the more harrowing stories in that show. It's sort of more in line with the romantic analysis of Tinder in Hang the DJ, or its depiction of the virtual afterlife in San Junipero. And Greg Daniels has taken the quirky characters from The Good Place and traded the concept of a real afterlife, which is the world in that show, for a digital one. And I know a lot of people love The Good Place and think it's a light-hearted study of morality, but I find the characters in it so nauseating and annoying. Like, they're so bubbly and zany, and it just altogether sort of rubs me the wrong way. Like, everyone's such a heightened personality in that show, and it altogether just feels a little too safe and mollycoddled. And Upload takes those preset characters that I don't think work very well and then sort of barrages you with jokes about condom sizes and not being able to perform in bed. Occasionally it'll have a neater idea. It has a social commentary on a Yelp-like review system that dictates everyone's happiness. Like in the show, all the angels are awarded star ratings, which have more meaningful implications in reality. But that's another example of an idea that's been lifted from Black Mirror. But to its credit, occasionally it takes some of those ideas and makes them more accessible. Like, I know not everybody wants to watch something depressing or horrifying, especially with sort of everything that's going on in the world at the moment. But between that and sort of the onslaught of product placements from Orbit and Coca-Cola, it sort of collectively grates me the wrong way. Like, science fiction can just about get away with having product placements front and centre because it sort of can claim to make the narrative be more realistic, but that was the angle in Jurassic World anyway. But yeah, I find myself for the most part just sort of disagreeing with it. When it's working at its best, it has something more significant to say about in-app purchases and monitoring conducted by marketeers, and at its worst it betrays its own commentary by taking money from companies it claims to have a problem with. But at its core, the show does highlight the flaws of capitalism, so its message is always going to be a bit messy because it's sort of victim of its own criticism. Typically I should be a shoo-in for a program like this. Like, anything that riffs on the Matrix or has anything to do with technology's role in our livelihood I'll queue up for, but the characters are so vexatious. It's frustrating because Greg Daniels worked on the US office, and that show had a really human relationship in it between Pam and Jim, and if you took those two characters and put them in this show, it'd be on another level, because this show is very surface level. It's just the things in the world that are interesting. The writer knows that everybody's had a go with a VR headset by now, and it dangles in front of you a vision of what a VR afterlife might look like. And what makes Charlie Brooker's writing superior is that most of the episodes are cloaked in something enigmatic, which, if done improperly, can be in effective and leave you feeling empty, but his writing really understands the central theme of technophobia, and it's so clear that he's fascinated by the detrimental effects of technology, and I don't think Greg Daniels has been captivated in quite the same way. You really have to psych yourself up heading into an episode of Black Mirror, and that's because, like, as a viewer, you know you're going to have to inject yourself into it, and your thought process will sort of align with the characters over the course of the episode. Like, the Nathan character is nowhere near as complexly built or sort of morally ambiguous as a range of characters in that show. He can only really be characterized by his attractiveness to others. Like, we're meant to find endearing that he prefers the Angel character to his foul but physically attractive girlfriend, and on top of that, the dialogue assumes that the audience lacks the intellect to understand the show's various personalities, and when characters speak to each other, they explain why they're good or bad and what we should think about them, and I think it assumes you're ironing or doing something more interesting. But you have to tell me what you think about it, because I really don't like The Good Place, and that has a really strong following, and maybe this will play out the same way, sort of regardless of the fact that I have gripes with it. But anyway, that's all for today, guys. Thanks so much for watching the video. If you drop me a like, that'd be amazing, and yeah, I'll catch you next time. Peace.